And we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. And of course, welcome back to Gurong Pinoy. This is a special edition of our review program. We have General Science with Doc H today. And of course, this is just part one. We are going to have part two of our discussion with Doc H tomorrow po. That's going to be December 27th from 1 to 3 p.m. But before we start, of course, please do like this video. Again, please do like this video. You can only watch us on YouTube right now. We don't have any broadcast on Facebook, for this special review program or special review session with Doc H. Okay, so go ahead and please like our video if you're watching us on YouTube right now. And if this is your first time to watch us, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Go back to all the playlists that we have, especially our live streams playlist, our general education playlist, and of course, our professional education playlist. And of course, these topics that we are going to take with Doc H today, general science, which includes earth science and physics, are all two very important topics that you have in your general education. Of course, if you are a physical science major, these are all going to be very helpful. Okay, so before we start, of course, we are going to first have our prayer. This still has been prepared for us by Pastor or Brother Efren Esteban. Please join me in our prayer.
Let us pray. Eternal and Father of all, thank you for today, for the ways in which you bless our lives and provide our daily needs. Today, as we come together in this place to learn and increase our knowledge, may you be with us, dear God, to understand our goals in life, to execute our priorities, and to become consistent in what we are doing. You are truly a big help for us to reach our dreams. Yes, Lord, may the presence of the Holy Spirit inspires us as we listen and write today. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, that through him we have hope and dreams alive. May you hear all these prayers and petitions, O loving Father. In the sweetest name of Jesus, we ask all these things. Amen.
Amen. All right, so again, today we are going to have the part one of General Science with Doc H. And of course, for our introduction, we know that our guest lecturer today is very special to me. He's a high caliber lecturer. He's a school principal, and he's also a licensed civil engineer. He's got 15 years as LET, MTG, CSC, engineering and MTOP lecturer. He has been a science supervisor for 8 years. So I've already mentioned this before to all of you. I said he's practically one of the persons who have hired me to teach in Ateneo because he was my subject area coordinator when I started teaching in Ateneo. He also was my principal when I came back to Ateneo in 2016. And of course, he has finished his MA for science education, his PhD in science education with concentration in math at West Visayas State University. He's also an MBA holder. And of course, he also has finished his MEd for guidance at the University of the Philippines. He was the former president of MTOP, and he's also a national and international resource speaker. Okay, so Doc H, of course, as I have mentioned, is very close to my heart. He's one of my mentors. I call him my sensei. So without any further ado, I give you Engineer Herman M. Lagon, PhD. Okay, where's Sir H?
Hello.
Sir H.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you clearly. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. In your case, good morning. As you told me, it's 2 a.m. there, no?
Yes,
so it's really indeed something. This is really something for you to prepare, no? Early in the morning for this event. So I really hope that our 2 hours later will be worth it for the rest of those who are listening and joining. So I'll make sure first that I'm sharing the right material for me. Is it?
Okay,
am I sharing it now? Not yet.
Not yet po.
Again. So let's see. Stop sharing. Share screen. I hope technology will help us today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. Thank you, Lord. Let's see. So, it's a it's an infinitely reflective screen. Perhaps we are
Okay.
sharing two screens.
Ano, please go to your slides po.
I'll go to my slide. Okay, okay. So
Ayun,
yeah,
ganon.
okay. So this is it. So I have with me um, my iPad telling me who is chatting, or I don't know how many are attending now, no, but well, from your introduction, it's there in YouTube also. So I am not so sure how interactive will this be. And then it looks awkward because I cannot even see my face here. But anyway, I have prepared four sets, about 330 items. I'm not even sure if that is enough or that is too much or enough or
Mm,
too little for 4 hours. But we'll see. I prepared two sets today. That's good for 140 items. We'll just browse through it and then hoping that we'll get one or two from there. Mamex, thank you so much for inviting me. It's really
sure
a
po.
pleasure to work with you. This advocacy of yours is something that resonates. What what the mission of Ateneo is all about. No, it's really sharing, giving, and receiving along the way. So I really commend what you're doing now, especially waking up in the morning for this. No, and making sure that our brothers and sisters will get the right notes, take the right notes, and prepare enough for the let. When will be the let, Ma'am X?
That's
I,
going
I,
to be on March 28 po.
March 28th. So at least you have enough time. You have 3 weeks, 3 months more. And I remember when I took my first board exam that was in civil engineering. In the first day we we had 2 days no for our for our let. Because I was so uh, confident, overconfident enough, not enough, super. So I really thought that I will have the confidence to take it. So at the first day, I lost that confidence and I almost cried before taking the second day. I'm already saying that I will fail. A good thing that with the grace of God, I passed, no, at the first take. But the feeling, I can still feel the feeling, no, at the first day when I took the test that I wasn't really ready. I did not uh, invest too much in review. The same thing I did it twice. No, when I took the board exam for guidance counseling,
Mhm.
I only gave myself 1 week to review, and it was really devastating. Also, the
Oh my
waiting, no,
goodness.
the fact that you're waiting for months for the
Yes,
result to be released, and you knew that you could have done better. No? So
yes.
that should not happen to anyone. And for you coming here, taking your time to review, that's already one. It's not really exactly about making sure that what you will review will really appear in the test.
Mhm.
Most of the time, it doesn't. What is important is the confidence and the concept. It will
Correct.
not exactly be the same, but the concept, at least, no, the principles and the laws behind the concept, if you take it by heart, then that will suffice. But anyway, uh, you haven't mentioned in everything that I have done, Ma'am Mex. I
Yes
think
po.
I have one very important achievement of all, and that is having two daughters
Yeah.
now.
Your sisters.
My sister, so maagang lumandi. So the benefit na maagang lumandi, I got married at the age of 19. And
Mhm.
so my eldest is now finishing her master's in guidance counseling, and she's now my co-teacher, no, here
Mm.
in Ateneo. The other one is taking up medicine. So anyway, that's all for me. Maybe let's maximize the time now to
Yeah,
proceed
thank you po,
with
Sir
general time.
Wich.
Sige,
Okay,
ma'am.
so I'll let you take it away.
Yes
Thank
po.
you, Sir
Opo,
Wich.
opo.
I'll see you
Yes,
in a
ma'am.
few minutes or if in,
Yes.
in 2 hours. Thank you po.
Yep. So please, I need you later, no, if there are some technical difficulties.
Sure
Sige.
po. I'll
So,
just be here.
ladies, yes. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, future teachers, licensed teachers, I am sure some of you are already teaching right by now. Um, I am not supposed to be here in my office, but unfortunately, our house is being repaired right now, so I have to come here in my office and have the review here. So anyway, I have prepared two sets, as what I've said. The focus this time will be general science. So it's just simple science, and then eventually we progress up to physics to by tomorrow. When I use the word simple, it's not a condescending term. No, when I say simple, it's far more important than the more difficult ones. When we were talking about the context of licensure exam in teaching, in let, one thing frustrating that you might experience is when you know already the answer, you know that you have it's there at the tip of your tongue, but you just are not sure or you have forgotten it. But it's a simple concept. So that is why we go back to the simplest concepts that we hope that we will not forget anymore when we take the LET. Okay? So these are varied concepts in general science, and I hope you get one or two from here. Before I proceed, let me stress one concept that I've been embracing in my life, in the latter years in my life. Uh, we call that um, tantum quantum, no? Tantum quantum, in as far as. So tantum quantum means in as far as, or whatever you take, whatever you can, embrace whatever you can for as long as it leads you to your goal. In this case, the goal is passing the LET. And so there are some items that you know already. It's okay, then let it be. Anyway, if you will review it, at least it will cement in your brain. No, if it's uh, something of the past and you're reviewing it now, so rejoice. No, if it's something new, then rejoice more. So this is simple as in my own point of view because it's basic science. But again, even if you're not into physical science, even if you're in Filipino, English, or whatnot, no, and specialization, even elementary uh, uh, basic education, still all this, as what Mamexa said, are included also in your general test. No, so still these are things that you ought to know, and I hope that we are listening and we are trying to understand all this not because of let alone, because when eventually when we get our license, we become teachers or just simple human beings. These are the things that we ought to know. Okay, and so let's see. Um, uh, the system will be this. I will show you a question and you will give me your answer. So I don't know how many of you are in the private chat, but it will be very nice if you will give me your answers as I show you some of the items, okay? And if not, then it's okay. We will continue to proceed. So meron tayong interaction, okay? Again, 140 items. I don't know if we can do that in 2 hours. So which of the following is the reason why paint sticks to a wall? Okay? I'm not sure if you are chatting with me or you're still there, but you can show your answer with me. I can see that in my iPad if you have one. But anyway, I will proceed. Now, in this simple question, we have 4 items, 4 choices: absorption, adhesion, cohesion, and surface tension. Maybe before, even if we know the answer, because this is let review, we have to make sure also that we know and understand the other choices, no? Those that are not the answers. So here, the answer is addition. Okay, and as you can see in the note, when we talk about addition, that is the coming together of two particles of different stock, no, different properties. And cohesion, on the other hand, is the coming together of two materials with the same property. Okay, so I still need to see some replies in your chat, no? But anyway, number 2, sand and water are mixed. They can be separated by the process of what? By the way, in some of the choices, we will skip them because they will be discussed in detail later. So sand and water are mixed. They can be separated by the process of. Assume that you are taking already the let and you're trying to answer these questions. Sand and water are mixed. They can be separated by the process of. So if we separate two substances, okay, that cannot mix, no, as a solution, then the way to do it is filtration. Okay, that's the one in the here. in the picture. I don't know if you can see my cursor. And then the one at the extreme right is distillation. Okay, so one best example, if you're a teacher already, when distillation happens in the laboratory, class laboratory, is that you get dirty water, place it in a flask, then use distillation process system in order to separate the dirty part of the dirty water from the actual water, or salt water. From salt water, separate the salt to the water, and that's distillation. But when it is sand and water, then you can just simply do filtration. Okay, which of the following is a hetero mixture? So in many let reviews, this is one of the items that is a little bit controversial, because some answered nail polish. Perhaps it has to do with difference in terms of generation. Because during my time in the 1980s, nail polish don't have any glitters at all. So when some answered nail polish, they argued, because the nail polish that I'm in my mind was a nail polish with glitters, and that's why it's a hetero mixture. That makes sense also. However, when you're taking the let, take note that the ones making the let exams are people of my age, people who don't consider nail polish as hetero mixture with glitters. And so in this case, the answer is calamansi juice. Okay? Okay. So let's see. I hope it's clear to you already the difference, or the different mixtures like homo and then heterogeneous mixtures, and matter as differentiated as two types: mixture and then pure substance. Under pure substance, you have compound and simple substance. Okay, and here, this is one way of showing the difference between homo and hetero. Sounds simple, right? But sometimes if you're under the time limitation when taking the let, this might appear confusing to you. Okay? To some, not to you. Okay, which of the following is transparent? Curtain, mirror, stone, water. So this is simple. Of course, water is transparent unless mirror. Well, some might be confused with mirror. Kala nila jealousy, no? But mirror here is definitely not transparent but opaque. And what are the different terms? We have opaque, the one that you cannot really see, and then the other one is translucent, and the other one is transparent. So water, of course, you can argue that, well, water naman, if it's dirty water, then you can see. Again, take note, we're working on convention. So the presumption here, when we say water, it's clean water. So when you take the let, always consider that. When you say curtain, it's not the curtain that we use in theaters, but the curtain that we usually see, that is translucent. Okay? So I'm saying that because who knows, baka ang tatanungin is what is translucent. I still need to see people chatting, no? I need to know if your answers are the same, or if you want to argue with me, or if you want to clarify things.
Sir H, excuse me, I can actually see their answers po.
I'm sorry, I cannot see it. Ano ba? My bad, my bad. Why can't
You
I
might
see?
have to, you try, sir, going to YouTube and open
Sa
Gurong
YouTube na lang. Sige.
po.
Sige, sorry forgive me. Oh, sorry. Kaya pala. So I feel so lonely here. So what's the title in YouTube? What's the title in YouTube, ma'am? Gurong Pinoy?
Gurong Pinoy, you go to Gurong Pinoy po, and then that should be the first video that pops up.
Okay. Sige. My bad, no? I am a technology dinosaur. So pasensya na. Chat. Ay, ito. Okay. For D. Very nice, very nice. Marami pala. So I'm talking to a lot of people pala. So very good. Thank you. And there are many of you watching. Sige. So let's see. Let's make this fast as possible. Okay, next, number 5. Which of the following properties makes metal suitable for making coins? Brittleness, ductility, flexibility, malleability. Ito, favorite na mga reviewers to. Let makers, no? well, exam makers. Brittleness, ductility, flexibility, malleability. Okay, many answered D. And again, no, I don't care if you're wrong. In fact, nobody cares if you're wrong. I would like to hope for that because all of us here are trying to understand concepts for let. No, so in fact, it's better to get the wrong answer and then learn from there. So if you learn from the answer here, then you can you remember things better. Okay. Si Michael nagtatanong bakit hetero yung calamansi. So when you the again, no, we always consider the context of the maker of the let, no. And when we talk about calamansi in the 1980s and the 1990s, it's calamansi with pulp there and also the calamansi what's this? Seed. So that's why the calamansi juice is considered to be hetero. Okay, but that's a good question. Okay, but in fact, if you are confused among all the four, you have to look if for you if you feel that from the four there's no answer at all in the last question, then you have to look for the one nearest to the answer. And so we cannot presume, it's difficult to presume that paint, balikan ko that paint is hetero, no? Unless you mix it, no? Even if you mix it, you will have homo. Then condensed milk, it's difficult to justify that it's hetero. Nail polish, again, no, in the context of the reviewer. But calamansi juice, it's near to the right answer because in calamansi juice, kahit wala pang seed, meron kang pulp. Okay? So, but thank you for the question. Now, the answer for number 5 is D, correct? Okay. Okay. So, okay, any malleability, that's hammered to thin sheets. So brittleness, crack and strain, then ductility, stretch, and flexibility is the ability to bend into twist. Okay? So again, paint is not considered hetero. Take note of that, no? So if it's colloid as in your own point of view, then the question here, what is hetero? Okay? And for me, still, no, if you look at the paint, if you look at the paint as the well mixed paint, then still it's not hetero. Okay, and you can always argue and then answer paint if you wish to, but what I'm talking about is based on experience. And so again, you can always argue and stick to your answer. It's your choice. No? I'm just sharing what I know. Okay, so anyway, let's go to malleability. So malleability, when you hammered metals into thin sheets, no? And gold is one of the most malleable metals existing. What is more important than the answer are the concepts, no? So for example, who knows, baka in some of the items or some of the questions, bibigyan ka ng isang material and then sasabihin tayo sa'yo na shiny siya, malleable and ductile. Ano ba yan? And of course, that's a property of a metal. And what are the properties of non-metals? So dull, brittle, non-malleable, etc. Of course, in general. So these concepts are very important also. No? Ductility, heat conduction, hardness, appearance, the state, density is also a consideration. Okay? So let's see. A bouncing ball possesses blank. A bouncing ball possesses blank. Okay? Of course, people will argue again with the answer. Let's see kung ano yung mga sagot ninyo. Ano bang meron ang bouncing ball? Ang none of these is supposed to be in letter D, pero it's okay. C na lang dito. It has to do with item construction. Sige. So your answer? May mga potential energy? Merong kinetic energy? Okay. Mas maraming kinetic energy? Merong potential energy also. May na sumagot na both potential and kinetic. Another thing, no? So this is one of the favorite topics also in the LET. Ako, I can bet my whatever in my wallet right now, no, that there will be there will be a question on potential and kinetic energy in your let. So better perfect this part. The answer is A. Again, you might argue, hindi naman sinabi kung if the ball is at the bottom. If the ball is at the extreme bottom, then kinetic energy lang. Kinetic energy lang ang mataas. If it's in the highest part, then potential energy yung pinakamataas, walang kinetic energy. Take note, this is happening. It's bouncing. So if you are looking for the best answer, because it's bouncing, therefore, it is both are happening. Okay? Both, what I mean is, both are existing, no? While the object is bouncing. Of course, alam naman natin ang law of conservation of energy, di ba? At a particular height and point, if you add a kinetic and potential, it will always be the same wherever the point, if you compare it with another point of the ball, assuming that there's no other friction or other friction or anything that will stop it from regressing its energy, from distributing its energy from somewhere. So if energy is conserved, therefore potential kinetic energy are present in a bouncing ball. Okay? So this is one of the trick questions usually for potential and kinetic. Many of us will answer kinetic energy. I can understand that because it's bouncing kasi. But when it bounces, potential energy still exists, no, as it bounces. Remember? So especially if it's at the middle of its bouncing, so the kinetic and potential energies are there. So this is cute, no? None of this is not an acceptable answer, I presume, because a bouncing ball definitely has energy. At yun nga, sabi nila, no, if you're not really sure with your answer, well, none of this might be the answer. But I don't know if that really works 100%. Next, which form of energy is produced by vibration of matter? Okay, number 7. So it's better siguro if you place the number and your answer. Kasi if you just place the letter, I might not know if your answer is for what number, no? In this case, number 7, which form of energy is produced by vibration of matter? Okay, energy produced by vibration of matter. This is a little bit tricky because I can also personally argue that other energies are also produced by vibration. Kaya lang, in this case, vibration of matter, we're talking about vibration of matter, and that is sound. Okay? We will discuss in detail the other stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Now, for those who answered thermal, I think you are thinking of objects that are molecules or particles that are moving and thus cause thermal energy. So that is, remember, again, in a multiple choice item, always choose the one with the best answer. So in terms of vibration of matter, sound is far more near to the answer. Okay, which energy transformation occurs in a telephone? Number 8, which energy transformation occurs in a telephone? Okay, telephone. So, maraming nangyayari sa telepono, no? So, or let us presume our cell phone. Anong meron na nangyayari? So, let's see. Okay. The answer is electrical to sound. Okay. Electrical to sound. But many will still argue that may heat to sound na or mechanical to heat, no? But of course, it's electrical to sound or even sound to electrical. So when you use your cell phone, when you talk to a person using the cell phone, your sound energy is converted by the cell phone to electrical pulses. And when it moves, no, from one point to the other in the speed of light using the usual technology, then it will be received by the receiver through electrical pulses, and the cell phone will again convert it from electrical to sound. So many things are happening there. Of course, heat is also being converted there because of the electrical pulses, but that, again, we're looking for the best answer. Number 9. Okay, thank you for your responses. Which kind of energy is possessed by water stored in a dam? Okay. Again, medyo favorite question to, no? So the answer is potential energy. Okay. And then, so you store the water, and then eventually through the open sluice, the water falls, and the water turns into kinetic energy. Then it is caught by a turbine, and then the turbine connected to the generator will turn it to electrical energy. Okay. Okay, so the answer here is potential energy. Okay, uh, I I I accept the fact that water itself has energy in itself. No, understanding Einstein's law on matter and energy. However, the cue here is the dam. So water is stored in the dam. No, again, looking for the best answer. The answer is potential energy, because that is what dams are for. No, dams with or without the generator. So they store the energy. Okay, and we know how strong that energy is. No, even without the generator. No, if we let go with the water, especially kung baha, alam natin how destruction can happen, no, in the low areas. Okay, so in matters of energy, we know that when we talk about potential energy, it can be gravitational, elastic, or chemical potential energy. So take note. But kinetic can also be mechanical, thermal, sound, electrical, radiant. All these things I took for free from Google, and those that are not for free, meron namang mga pangalan kung sino gumawa nito. So hindi to akin. But anyway, these are very good graphics, no, in order for you to remember. Again, puro remembering lang naman to if you are science majors, or even if you're not science majors, because all these things are covered in junior high and senior high. So importante lang talaga ulit-ulitin, no, i-review natin. Okay? Most of us, when we talk about potential energy, the one that goes to our mind is gravitational potential energy. But take note, there are many other potential energies, like chemical, the food that we eat it, and then we get energy from it. Nuclear energy is also potential energy. Elastic energy is also potential energy. But when we talk about kinetics, it's not just about mechanical or moving parts. It can be electrical, radiant. Electrical is moving electrons, diba? Radiant, moving photons. No, thermal, moving particles. No, sound, moving matter or vibrating matter. Okay? So here, no, these are the examples. Okay. So let's go to number 10. The best heat insulator among the following materials is, I think this is easy for everyone. I don't know if this will appear, the choices will be the same, but medyo clear naman yung sagot dito. Insulators wood. Okay? As you can see, when you look at wood, the cross section of the wood, so may mga hollow part pa dyan, and even the wood itself, no, malalaman mo that it's really insulator, no? Maraming mga hollow parts. For copper, iron, and silver, their properties, they're really conductors of electricity and heat. And which is the best conductor of electricity? Thank you for your answers. Let's go to number 11. Which of the following is the best conductor of electricity? Ano kaya? Best conductor of electricity. Ito, another debatable item. Best conductor of electricity. Okay? So the answer is copper. Although I will not argue with you if your answer is gold, no? Because this is just one example to prove that it's copper in terms of conductivity. But I can also prove to you using another graph, using another matrix, where gold is better than copper. So in fact, in one of the reviews before, I even answered gold instead of copper, but I told those who argued with me, so, well, you can check copper also, because it always depends on what graph do you have. No? What graph do you have? And so the question is, what is usually the answer in this question? I think the usual answer is copper. But if they will show you the graph, then maybe you just have to accept gold. Personally, if I were be your teacher, I will personally accept gold. And the reason why many expensive gadgets now are made up of gold rather than copper, in as far as their wirings are concerned, is because of this exactly. Because gold plated or gold uh, conductors of electricity are better than copper in a particular temperature, in a particular state of gold. Pero sabi nila, at a particular temperature and state of gold, copper is better. So that's why medyo we are doubtful in these two items. Okay, always what I advise to you is to go back to what is the most acceptable table of conductivity, and there it will show to you which is better. You will eventually see that copper and gold are hitting first uh, at times, depending on the temperature, the condition, and depending on their temperature and their situation. So, ang conductivity pala nag-change depende sa condition ng isang substance. Okay. Number 12. Which energy transformation is demonstrated in a generator? Yan. Another favorite item. Function of a generator. Anong tinatransform ng isang generator? Is it electrical to mechanical, mechanical to electrical, mechanical to light, or mechanical to sound? Okay. Again, many here are true. Even mechanical to light, no generator, sometimes you see spark there. But what is really the nearest answer? Okay, I think that's the mechanical to electrical. Okay, so it's mechanical to electrical. That's correct. And many of us are correct. And the inverse of which, the motor, is electrical to mechanical. So the question can be about generator or energy transformation in a motor. So take note of the two. No? So of course, sometimes the best way to remember it is just to look back with our experience. Generator, kung walang kuryente, then we get the generator. Okay. Kasi generator produces electricity. So from mechanical, it converts it into electricity. Motor, on the other hand, is the reverse. Okay? I hope you have experience in your high school or college where you are asked by your teacher to make your own simple generator or motor. Because that one makes the whole understanding better. Okay, so this is a good show or figure of how the two are interconnected. So the one at the left is generator. Is the one here. These two blocks are magnets. So if you have here a stator and then a rotor, then when you move it, then you will be able to break the magnetic field, and breaking the magnetic field will cause electricity. So this concept discovered by Faraday means that, or suggests that if there are two magnets, no, and then they have strong Teslas, they have very very strong magnetic fields, and then you cross that path at the middle, then you will create electricity. You get electrocuted. So that's usually my example para hindi makalimutan. So even if kamay mo lang, no, ilagay mo sa dalawang magnets in between, you will, if you continue to break the magnetic field, then you are inducing electricity. I think that's the term, inducing electricity. That's why this is called electromagnetic induction. So what you induce is called AC electricity. So alternating current, no? And then, but when you go back, the inverse of which is when electricity goes to a motor, the motor will eventually convert the electricity into mechanical energy. Okay? So just like your electric fan. Okay? So ang gandang klaseng concept to. And Michael Faraday thought of this more than a century ago. And when he introduced this in the English Society of Scientists, he was even mocked, no? Sabi niya, what is this for? Kasi wala pa naman yung electricity generation sa kanya during that time. He just knew that when you break the magnetic field, it induces electricity. So tinanong siya, what is this for? How good, what is this for anything? No, parang how good is this? Mocking him. And then he said, what good is a baby for? So very smartly, no, he retorted. And then eventually, years later, enter Tesla, enter Thomas Alva Edison. So we have DC, AC current. Now, it's difficult for us to live without electricity. Okay. Number 13. Which of the following makes you lounge forward when the bus you're riding suddenly stops? What concept is that moves you forward when the bus that you are riding suddenly stops? Okay. So our answers are B. Correct. Inertia. Inertia also moves you back when your ride moves forward suddenly. Okay? But how about the other concept, especially thrust? What is thrust? So in this case, now these are important concepts, no? Lift, that is the force lifting the object up, like in the plane. The thrust is the force that pushes the plane forward. It can also be the force that pushes your car forward. That's the thrust. But the one that stops the object from moving forward is called a drag. Okay? Of course, we know what weight is. But drag here is the very reason why it's called drag race. In fact, it's an oxymoron. In a drag racing contest or drag race, you are supposed to move fast. But drag, a term, is supposed to be a term that is used to slow the object down. No? So drag, thrust, and lift. You may face them very soon, no, in your exams. Number 14, to keep yourselves as cool as possible during summer, you must wear clothing that is what? During summer, what's the best clothing or attire so that you will be more comfortable with it? As cool as possible. Number 14, to keep yourselves as cool as possible during summer, you must wear what kind of clothing? Number 14. Okay, light colored. Light. Okay, Maylin said light colored also. Cherry, light colored. I think everybody knows why. Everybody knows the answer. Let's check why. Okay. Syempre, mga tight fitting, I don't know why. Why in fashion, no? Sometimes fashionable clothes are not really cool clothes. But anyway, the answer is letter C, light colored. Take note that here's what happens. Now, this is just a comparative show of how hot it is, no, if it is black. So black is 71.5 degrees centigrade, 61.3 in a blue. In a particular condition to. So what is important is the comparison. So the black is very hot, then blue next, then brown, green. But as you can see, white is 36.7, which is almost twice as much as black. Twice less as black. Okay? So you're cooler twice as much when you wear white than black. Okay? Anyway, so let's have this one. Now, this has to do with litmus papers. So as a student was asked to identify 3 unknown solutions, XYZ. She was instructed to use litmus paper in the activity. So solution Y has no reaction to red or blue. Wala lang. So what kind of solution is that? A solution with no reaction to red or blue. A solution with no... May sinabi si Christine about jacket. Niretract mo, Christine. Parang interesado ako sa comment mo dun about jacket. But anyway, number 15, answer is it an acid? Because it has no reaction to red or blue. Is it really an acid? Remember, this is litmus test. And in English, remember also, take note that there are also, these terms may also be important for English majors or even for non-English majors kasi sa language din to eh. So litmus test is a most used trite word or phrase in literature also, in contemporary literature. So litmus test, kung walang reaction to red or blue, that means that solution Y is salt. Okay? Or the same thing with water, or the same thing uh, with with sweets, no? Compound that has no reaction to either red or blue litmus paper. So take note of that, no? Kung walang reaction to red or blue ang litmus paper, therefore it's a salt. It's neither a base, neither an acid. Okay? Sige. So, bakit natakot? Natakot ba siya sa akin dahil sa jacket? Gusto ko yun. Baka merong science behind the jacket comment. Anyway, take note. I'm wearing my jacket now because it's air-con here. So, I feel cool. But I feel cooler because of the black jacket.
Yeah, I just want to tell them, Sir H, na he looks and he sounds serious, but you can also joke around with him.
Oo naman.
Sir?
Uy, nako. Ang buhay ay walang kwenta kung walang humor.
Hindi kasi mga kwela kasi to sila, sir. Mga joker kasi to. Kaya
Okay.
enjoy ako kapag meron akong live stream. Pero ngayon parang ang seryoso nila.
Kaya nga eh.
Pa yung joke.
Kaya nga, inintroduce ko na sarili ko, no? Maagang lumandi na teacher. Kaya hindi ko sinasabi yung school. Anyway, so that is a cue. Now, let's have fun, okay? So again, black ako because it's cool here, very cold. And then I look cool, so cooler. Anyway, so blue litmus paper, number 16. Blue litmus paper. Thank you. Turned red in Z. So sa Z, yung solution Z, ang blue litmus paper turned into red. So what do you think is the solution? Is it a base, a salt, an acid? Or it's all of the above? Anthony Taberna. Kaboses lang, hindi kay tsura. Sige. So ano, ang answer natin, blue litmus paper turned to red in Z. And I presume that it did not change, from blue. So this blue litmus paper turned to red. That means it's an acid. So red for acid, none at all. Therefore, it's salt or water. Or later, I will explain the difference. And then acid, no? If it turns blue litmus paper to red. Okay. I just realized that this one part of the concept we still need to review more, no? So now we see the progression. Now number 17, I hope everybody gets the answer, or at least most of us. Now we want to know substance X. In substance X, using the litmus paper, the red litmus paper, after dipping it into the substance, the red litmus paper turned to blue. So from red to blue, what then is the substance? Okay. For number 17, what then is the substance? Pero masaya kasi they're really participative, no? The answers are just coming in very fast. Most of the time, the one that I fear the most is people will not give their answer in the fear that they will be judged because their answers are correct or wrong. So, wala na yun, no? Let's be more confident with your answer and accept it if it's wrong, learn from it. In fact, we learn better from the mistakes, and then celebrate if it's correct. And argue if you feel that the answer here is wrong. Okay. Okay. Sige. So the answer here is, of course, a base. No? So again, if If blue turns to red, it's an acid. If red remains red, it's an acid. If the red litmus paper turns to blue, or the red litmus paper turns to red, or remains red, then it's basic. No. Red litmus paper turns to blue, or blue litmus paper turns to blue. That's basic. Okay, so here it goes. If it's red, if you use a red litmus paper, and there's no change at all, okay, or red going to blue, then if it's an acid, no change at all. Red is to red. If it's an basic, red becomes blue. If you use blue litmus paper, blue turns to red. Okay? The blue turns to red if it's an acid, and then blue has no change at all if it's basic or alkalinic. No? The other term for wait. Alkali, yes. Alkalinic is the other term for basic, no? Alkaline. So take note of this, very important concept. Here, let me show to you. Sometimes they give you the pH. By the way, 7 is salt, diba? But sometimes milk is 1 also. Water is 1. Okay, the normal stream water. Okay, and salt. And then if you go up, then that becomes more acidic. If you go down, it becomes more basic. Here in the pH scale. Okay? So take note, no? May mga examples tayo. So pure water is 1, 7, no? pH. If pH is 7, it's either pure water, milk, or salt. But here in the upper right side, pH scale of milk is in between 7 and 6. But normally milk is also associated with 7. So 12, somewhere 11 and 12 ammonia, and so on. Now we just have to see things. Ang pH care, hindi ko alam kung how much necessarily ang pH care. Is it 4 or 5? Hindi ko alam. No? But that has to do with this also. Okay, with the scaling. Okay, so sometimes you're asked about the difference between acid and base, how they differ in taste. No? So sour for acid, base is bitter. Okay, like sometimes you and your boyfriend or girlfriend, or sometimes it's sweet. Then the smell is burn nose. It may burn the nose, and usually basic has no smell. Okay, and then later we will discuss more. No, what else are the properties of base or an acid? Okay, sige. So 5.5 ang ma'am, 5.5 ang pH care, or most likely 5.5. Okay, so water with salt dissolved in it is number 18. Water with salt dissolved in it is it a mineral, solution, a suspension, or an element? Of course, the presumption here is you mix the salt to water. That's why it's dissolved. And so the answer is a solution. Okay. Now take note, a suspension is a mixture in which small particles of a substance are dispersed to a gas or liquid like muddy water. Then we know minerals and elements. Number 19. Sorry, medyo fast ako, pero we hope we can finish everything. No? Which of the following is the reason why cooking pans are made of metals? Of course, sana naman, no, clear sa atin bakit, no, cooking pans are made of metals. Not because they're expensive, but because of what? Because it's a good conductor of heat. Okay? Because it's a good conductor of heat. Medyo may delay lang pala ng konti sa YouTube, ano, and dito sa akin. Okay? They're good conductor of heat, no? Well, it's durable, but even if it's durable, kung hindi naman siya good conductor of heat, what's the sense of having a cooking pan that is not a good conductor of heat? Okay? But metal is also a good insulator. Take note of that. That's why meron letter B for you to be confused. And so take note always with the stem. The stem talks about cooking, okay, and not conducting electricity. Okay. By the way, letter B pala is insulator. Akala ko good insulator. So mali din to. Okay, but sometimes what if lalagay dito, metal is a good conductor of electricity? So still the answer is A. Diba? Because we're talking about cooking pans, not electrifying or conducting pans. Excuse me. Which metal is used for electric wiring? Which metal is used for electric wiring? And again, gold is also used, but the answer is copper. We know the reason. Okay, and we know the reason why it's copper and not gold, no? They're using, not just because of conductivity, relatively speaking, but syempre can you imagine kung gold yung wirings natin? Copper pa lang, kinukuha na ng iba. Ralph said, basta mahaba yung answer, minsan yun yung tama. Hindi lahat ng mahaba, tama. Pero sometimes it makes sense. No? Na-notice ko in some of the items. Pero hindi lahat. Pero kung hindi mo na alam ang sagot, then maybe you can take the risk. Okay. Which property makes copper ideal for electric wiring? Ayan. Ito, magandang item din to, no? Sometimes we forget the properties and what are they for. So in this case, ano kaya? Which property makes copper ideal for electric wiring? Number 21. Which property makes copper ideal for electric wiring? Siyempre, we can always use deduction in order to get to the right answer. For example, letter A is brittleness. I'm sure copper is not brittle. So you can already take away brittleness as your choice answer. At least the possibility of getting the right answer is already 75%. 75% is higher, no? Not 75%. Okay. 30, in this case, you have, what's the answer? Is it because of ductility? Our answer is ductility. And ito, when I was still in my, I think, 4th year in engineering, our teacher brought us to an engineering area where it showed how reinforced, no, the kabilya are being pulled, no, against two directions, no, 180 degrees. And then nakikita talaga namin, no matter how big the circumference of that wire, makikita talaga namin how it looks like this when it is pulled, no, in two directions. The ductility talaga is real. Okay, so if you pull it more, it will look like a wire. But if it is brittle, it will look like this. The one at the bottom. Okay? Okay. So, elasticity, ito, tanungin ko muna. Para, I would like to check that in the chat box. What do you think is the difference between elasticity and flexibility? Sige. Gusto kong malaman ang opinion nyo in the difference between elasticity and flexibility. Ano kaya yung difference ng dalawa? What's the difference between elasticity and flexibility? Anyone who would like to give us their answer? Anong difference ng elasticity and flexibility? Sometimes, if medyo nakalimutan na yung sagot, maybe you can refer it with the objects you refer elasticity with. So, elasticity, baka rubber band. Flexibility, ano ba? Look for, like, maybe uh, bamboo. So, anong difference ng dalawa? Elasticity will go back to original form. That's correct. After giving a particular force to it. What about flexibility? Thank you, Nemuel, no? Elasticity will go back to its original form naman talaga. So when you, elasticity, stability of the object to resist a force or to bend, no? With the force, no? Exerted to it. And then when the force is taken out, the object will go back, no? The ability for the object after the force given to go back to its original length. But what about flexibility? Okay. Mylene said, ang flexibility, the capacity to be easily deformed. Okay? Flexibility, na de-deform. Correct. Okay. Elasticity, like the rubber. Now, when you apply force to it, then it bends. And then, when you take out the force, it goes back, I presume. Okay. Okay. Flexibility, easily deformed, can be used in many ways. Okay. So, here is the difference. Thank you for your answers. Okay. Saludo ako sa inyo. So elasticity means the object will regain its original form as soon as the deforming force is removed. So rubber band. But take note, rubber band is not the most elastic of all, no? In fact, rubber band is one bad example of elasticity. As you can notice, when you exert too much force to rubber band, the rubber band does not go back to its original form anymore. One most elastic object of all is metal. So why metal, sir? Because if you move the metal, you exert more force to it in order for it to bend. But when you let go with the force, it goes back to its original position. So, but take note how elasticity is being compared here. No, it has to do with the force that you exert for the object to bend, and then when you let go of that force, for the object to go back to its original position. Flexibility is it means that the object can be easily deformed and will stay at that phase. Okay, number 22. Thank you for your answers. Oh, flexibility permanent, Jericho said. Michael said, I feel you, sir, lalo na sa engineering science subjects. Okay. Okay. So, which of the following phenomena allows you to smell the aroma of food from your neighbor? Ayan. Or smell the fart of your classmate in the classroom, if you can still remember that. Which phenomena allows you to smell the aroma of the food from your neighbor? Okay? So, ang importante dito, alam natin yung concept, no? Ang every item, not just answer. So, Jeremy answered C. Norlene answered only number 22. I'm confused, Norlene. Diffusion. Diffusion. Okay, everybody got the right answer. And diffusion is just one example of entropy. Now, the ability of the object to go from the more organized to the less organized. This is one example. This is diffusion in the liquid sense. The aroma of a stinky object, a thing, is also one example of diffusion. But diffusion can also happen in sound, and diffusion can also happen in molecules, no? Cosmic molecules. Now, let's go to protons and neutrons, no? Atomic structure na tayo. An atom, X, has an atomic number of what? If atom X has 26 protons and 30 neutrons. An atom has 26 protons and 30 neutrons. So therefore, an atom has an atomic number of what? Ano ba? $23? Okay, correct, 26. Okay, it seems that we are clear on this concept. So therefore, number 24, I think Yeah, everybody got the right answer. Atom X has an atomic mass of what? What then is the atomic mass? Yeah, parang Mamex, parang na-perfect na nila yung atomic mass at saka atomic number. Atom X has an atomic mass of? Kindly place the number. So I would... What's the atomic mass? Okay. So the answer is 56. Uh-huh. Bakit letter D? Bakit 56? Atomic mass is the sum of the protons and the neutrons. Okay? Atomic mass is the sum of the protons and the neutrons. Then how many electrons do we have? How many electrons do we have then? Again, balik ko remember, atomic mass is the sum, mass to, no? Mass ng atom. So by just the term itself, it has to do with the mass of the protons and the everything in it. No? Okay. So it contains blank electrons. Number 25, it contains blank electrons. How many electrons then if it has 26 protons and 30 neutrons? Obviously, this is an isotope. Okay, so the answer is number 25. How many electrons do we have? How many electrons do we have? So, okay, Beverly, correct. No? So, Beverly, Nemuel, Miss Joanne. Okay, the answer is 26, no? The number of electrons is also equal to the number of protons, no? Ano kaya mangyayari kung ang number of proton at saka electron are different? So that's a good question. Okay, so take note that atomic number is the number of protons. And also the number of electrons. Parang the same lang naman. The mass number is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. Okay? Take note of that. Okay. Number 26. We're a little bit slow, but I think it's okay at pacing. We can still finish this one. Which of the following will make red to blue, litmus paper to blue? This is a review on what the items that we had a few minutes ago. The red litmus paper turned to blue. Red turning to blue. Ano kaya? Ano kaya yan? What is it, acid or base? If it is acid, saan ditong acid? If it is basic, saan dito yung basic? Red to blue. Again, please take this seriously. All of you, no, it doesn't, for the physical science majors, they need to know this. And I think this is just easier for them kasi ito yung mga subjects nila. Pero this is a you should know basis, no? And meaning to say, kahit ano pang major mo, these are things that we all should embrace and know. Okay? So, red turns to blue, therefore, it is basic. And an example of a base material here is lime water. Okay? So, see, it makes our options easier to identify and to discriminate if alam natin yung some of the concepts. So, but if you don't know what is the meaning of red litmus paper turning to blue, then we cannot identify which is the right answer here. At least here, number 26, all we need to know is kung saan dito yung basic. Kasi alam natin, if red litmus paper turns to blue, it's basic. So, lumalabas, Ralph. Lumalabas sa biology to. Oh, that's nice. If you're talking about the litmus paper or sa, yeah. Okay, thank you. Which components of the air varies in about from day to day? By the way, now, bakit we need to take this seriously also? If you check the statistics, not all, only 1 out of 4 physics majors teaching physics. Only 1 out of 4 teachers who are teaching physics are physics majors. Meaning to say, if you get your let and you become a teacher in a public school, even more so in a private school, there's still high likelihood that you will be asked to teach science. No, may kilala ako, PE major siya, not in our school, pero she is teaching physics, no, in her school. You cannot say no to that, no? More so if you are in a public school, if it's a need. Okay, to which component of air varies about from day to day? The answer is Michael said vapor. Miss Joanne, carbon dioxide. Lizelle, Christine say that they are also water vapor. Meron ding oxygen. Okay. Let's try to analyze this. What elements here or compounds here or substances here that when it changes from day to day, mabubuhay yung tao, hindi mabubuhay yung tao? 1, oxygen. If oxygen does not change, if oxygen changes from day to day, then I don't think that is a good condition for life to exist on Earth. Konting change lang ng oxygen content, no? In general, may mga ibang tao mamamatay na because of lack of oxygen. So oxygen, good, nice to know that oxygen does not vary from day to day, no, in general. Nitrogen, if this varies in about from day to day, in general, then marami ring mga plants that will die. Okay? Ang carbon dioxide, although it changes in time, but it doesn't change from day to day. Therefore, the answer is water vapor. And anong proof ko dyan? Kasi minsan mainit, minsan maginaw, kung sa Ilonggo pa, mapaam, no? Or mapaaw, I don't know. So water vapor has to do with humidity. And humidity changes on a daily basis. But oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide do not. Okay? So take note of that. 28, a little bit of computation. So congrats for those who answered water vapor, which has to do with humidity. Okay? Like in my example here, no? The change in humidity can also show to you if merong bagyo or wala. 27. Which component of the air, 28. If an object's weight on Earth is 60 newtons, what is its weight on the moon? Ayan, weight and mass, the usual question even in IQ test. If an object's weight on Earth is 60 newtons, what will be its weight on the moon? Thank you, Nimwell, mapaang. Humid, mapaang. Okay. Okay. What will be its weight on the moon kung 60 newtons siya sa Earth? Remember, we're talking about weight here. Weight. Weight on the moon. An object's weight on Earth is 60 newtons. What will be its weight on the moon? Okay. Ayan, may divided tayo, may mga D, the weight remains. May mga B. May nakita akong answer na 10N. Hindi ko alam yung 10 newtons pala. Okay. Okay, so divided tayo. This is clear that I need to clarify this. No, the answer is 10 newtons. which is 1/6 of 60 newtons. The best and fastest way to lose weight is to go to the moon. Okay? You will lose weight by, you will, from, assuming, no, you have 600 newtons weight, you will lose 500 newtons. So you become only 10 newtons. That's why when they walk in the moon, di ba, they almost glide and fly. Because your weight changes when you go to another place, depending on the mass of that place where you are. So the Earth's mass is bigger than the mass of the moon, and it's expected that your weight will also be less when you go to the moon. Remember, what doesn't change is mass, not your weight. So in this case, what is your weight on the moon? It's 1/6 of your weight on the Earth, on Earth. So the question can change. Mamangkot mo na siya. What will be your mass on the moon? Of course, if that is the question, the answer is D. But the question now is, what is your weight on the moon? Also, take note that when you go to Jupiter, your weight change increases by 3 times as much. Excuse me. So as you can notice, your weight depends on where you are. Okay? But your mass remains. So anywhere you go, your mass remains at whatever that is. No? In this case, it's 60 over 9 divided by 9.8. That's the mass. So take note of this. Again, this is one example of one thing that is simple, yet if you are confused, then you will not get the answer. Sayang. If it's sayang na ginugol mo ang time mo sa isang difficult na problem, and then it's just like the same eh. If you get the right answer here, it's the same as getting the right answer for a question that is difficult to answer. So kanugon. So better remember and better understand the whole thing about the concept of weight and mass. We'll have more of that in the future. 29. Which property of matter remains the same regardless of location? Yes, Jericho, mass still remains. Of course, we're talking about classical physics here. We're not talking about quantum physics, okay? So that's why mass, I say, will still remain. Okay, which property of matter remains the same regardless of location? So parang clear na siguro to na mass. Ito, let's go to the difference between mass and weight. Mass is a measure of the amount of matter in the object, while weight has to do with gravitational force. The force that is used to the object by another object, in this case, the Earth, for our weight. Mass is always constant, no matter where you are, but weight varies depending on where you are. Mass can be measured using a balance, like this, triple beam balance. And weight can be measured using a spring. But sir, sometimes we get the weight using the, yes naman. Merong mga triple beam balance na merong weight scale, pero triple beam balance is more on mass measurement, and spring balance is more on weight measurement. By the look of it, how it looks and how you do it, you can see what it is for and to whom it is for. Of course, mass is in kilograms, grams, milligrams. Weight is in newtons. Okay? Okay. So let's proceed to number 30. The first person who informed the world that molecules are in motion was. So who was the first person who informed the world that molecules are in motion? This is very important. I think this happened centuries ago. And because of this, many other breakthroughs happen because of understanding that molecules are moving. In fact, they're moving randomly and constantly. So what's the answer? Who said that? Number 30. Is it Galileo? Is it Newton? Is it Alexander Graham Bell? Or will the answer be the one with the longest option? Many answered Isaac Newton. Yeah, it's a calculated answer, but is it really the right answer? No, Newton. Let's see. Alexander Graham Bell, correct me if I'm wrong, invented the telephone, if I'm not uh, if I'm not mistaken. Galileo thought of gravity, no, and laws of it, and because of Galileo's contribution, Isaac Newton conceptualized the three laws of motion. He was also the inventor of many things. Also strengthened the concept of optics, no, in many things, no. But the one that we missed, that Lian got the right answer with, was Robert Brown. I think this is supposed to be discussed in grade 9, no, uh, for your chemistry, or maybe grade 7, no, introduction of molecules. Brownian motion is a concept that says, or theory perhaps, that says that objects or molecules are constantly moving and hitting each other in many directions. No, randomly and constantly moving. And this happened when he, by accident, uh, he saw the some particles, no, moving in a dish, no, in his own dish, petri dish. Sabi niya, bakit nagmo-move yung ibang mga object? Most likely, wala naman siyang may ginagawa, wala namang other factors. And so that's where he thought na most likely molecules are moving randomly. Okay? So Brownian motion. Okay? The Brownian motion. Thank you. 31. The energy you get from a hamburger can be traced to as far as the what? This is interesting. By the way, Isaac Newton also invented calculus at the same year when Leibniz also invented calculus. I think I think Isaac Newton invented differential calculus. So, but the opposite of which, the inverse of which, uh, integral calculus was conceptualized at the same year by Leibniz in different countries. One in Germany, the other one is Great Britain. Imagine what a fascinating year was that calculus was invented. And I think Isaac Newton was still in his early 20s. So those are things that might also appear. But don't forget Brown, no, Robert Brown. Okay, number 31. Karen, bakit ampersand yung ano? Bakit A yung answer mo? At. Anyway, sige. Uh, okay. Here, I hope everybody's convinced why the sun is the answer. Okay? Siyempre, kung hamburger mo green plant, siguro ano ka, vegetarian, no? Mahirap worse if your answer is C, soil. Anyway, sun. Everything comes except for the heat from the bottom of the earth. The sun is the main source of energy here on earth. No, at least at the skin of the earth. Iron filings and sulfur powder, when stirred together in a test tube, become what? What happens to them? Christine, pinahirapan ka ng calculus, pero kagaya ng relationship, kung mas mahirap, 'di ba, mas stronger yung love. So yun yung benefit ng calculus. Mahirap siya sa iba, pero malaki yung ginawa na dinulot sa engineering, sa medicine, in all other areas in science. Budgetarian si Christine. Okay. Sige, so just get the energy from the sun, libre. Okay, number 32. So, if you stirred it in the test tube, they're still mixture because you can separate them by physical means. Correct? Everyone. If a bar magnet is placed near the mixture of sulfur and iron filings, what will happen to the bar magnet? Number 33, what will happen to the bar magnet? They will attract the iron filings because sulfur is a non-metallic material. So what will be attracted is the iron filings, okay, by the magnet. So that's one easy way to separate the two materials. Okay, clear naman siguro sa atin how iron filings will look like when magnets are placed near to each other, di ba? And then some of us will say, paano nagmo-move yung magnetic field? That's from south to north. South to north. The movement, the direction of the magnetic field from south to north is the direction is made conventionally. No, meaning to say nag-agree mga scientists that it should be south to north. Okay? Pero there's no way to really, there's no sense, no? Aside from being it's a convention, there's no sense at all, no? Na i-identify which is north and which is south. Kasi everything is happening all at the same time, no? But take note how the filings or the magnetic fields look like, because especially if you're in physical science major, sometimes what they will show you is just the picture, and then they will ask you which is north and which is south. Diba? Mga pole. Or are they attracting each other or are they repelling with each other? Or yeah, mga ganon. Saan ba yung magnetic pole dito? Okay? Take note that importante na maintindihan that if the magnetic lines are near to each other, meaning to say the strength, the magnetic strength is strong. If they are far from each other, meaning the magnetic strength is weak. Okay? So as you can see here, there are more iron filings. That means to say many are attracted here. This area has strong magnetic field. Okay? Number 34. Sugar is an example of what? Sugar is an example of what? So Christine, opposites attract. Yes, magnetically speaking. Okay? But sometimes opposites repel from each other in life. Bakit kinuha mo naman, Christine, yung input mo? Opposites attract, magnetically speaking. Okay, here, sugar is an example of a compound. Okay, a chemical bonding by carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, beautiful, no? Yung itsura ng, yung architectural chemical structure, no? Ng glucose, fructose ring, or sucrose sugar. Okay, an example of potential energy is what? An example, medyo these are simple. So, an example of potential energy, is it burning match, cold watch spring, falling water, spinning wheel, pinwheel? Let's see. Kasi in some of the reviews, may mga nagko-confuse pa dito eh. So, ano kaya yung sagot sa number 35? Potential energy. Ano kaya? Sige, show me your answers. Christine, magnetically speaking, yes. Pero Christine, I feel sometimes it's also, I have seen a lot of relationships here, mga friends ko na opposites attract. So they don't need to be the same, because if they are the same, sometimes they don't attract each other. Anyway, so number 35, medyo iba-iba yung sagot natin. I think this is a controversial item. So the answer is coiled watch spring. Falling water is more of an example of kinetic energy, burning match, and spinning wheel. But a coiled watch spring is an example of potential energy. When you coil the watch spring, so you add potential energy to the spring. Okay, so that's letter B. Okay, take note of this, ha? And this is a little bit tricky. No, well, less tricky if you use English as your help. Kasi burning, falling, spinning are all symbols of action, di ba? Ang coiled water spring, coiled, meaning na coil mo, na water spring, na nothing is happening. So, there's a bit of a cue there that it might be a potential energy. So, we can take note of the terms used. Okay. In a dry cell, number 36, electrical energy results from what? What does it, where is it coming from? How is electricity being produced? No, it's coming from where? In a dry cell. Okay. Number 36. Ayan, Thomas, correct. Stored energy. Potential energy, stored energy. That's why a coiled spring is a stored energy. Okay. Number 36. Paano na-produce ang electrical energy from a dry cell? So, where is it coming from in the dry cell? Okay. So, in the dry cell, it's chemical action. So, even if it's in the wet cell, still, chemical reaction is happening or chemical action is happening, and it's turned, that device turns the chemical energy to electrical energy. In both dry cell, like Energizer battery, and wet cell, like Motorola. Okay. 37. The energy of a raised hammer's head to hit a nail is what? Again, another very contentious item. The energy of a raised hammer's head to hit a nail is blank energy. Dry cell is an electric battery, Thomas. Yeah. 37. You raise the hammer's head to hit a nail. So what's that energy? Ayan, see, divided tayo sa sagot. May B, may D. Okay? Okay. So the answer here is, again, learning from the previous question, raised. So raised hammer's head. Not racing, but raised hammer's head. So the answer is potential energy. So that's example, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. Okay, Mjolnir. Okay? So raised pa lang hammer's head. And that's potential energy. Okay? So potential energy is mgh. We all know that. And the G is 9.8 meter per second squared. Remember, G here is a special letter, which means 9.8 meter per second squared, or the acceleration due to gravity on Earth. Okay? If you go to another place like Jupiter or Mars or Moon, the G here becomes G Moon or G Jupiter. No? But the G here, if there's no sub letter there, G automatically means gravitational acceleration on Earth. Okay? Sige. So, yes, JP, medyo tricky talaga. I think the most important, that's why we're reviewing, no? So that's the grace in review. Kasi it gives us, my focus is more on skills in identifying the answer. So in this case, sinabi raised, hindi racing. So when you say racing, then there's an action going on. But when you say raised or coiled spring, meaning walang action, ginawa na, tapos na. So those are some of the cues, context clues, no, that we can use in order to identify the best answer. No, I think exams like this are meant to be confusing for us to know kung ma-discriminate mo talaga kung anong correct answer. Razel, at the highest peak, when you say zero, maybe you're talking about the initial velocity at the highest peak. Okay, but because you raised the hammer, meaning to say, you already increase the hammer's potential energy. So once you increase the hammer, you increase its potential energy. Okay? Okay. So number 38. That's nice, no? You're telling me yung trickiness. We can focus on that. Uh, Materials made of are good conductors of both heat and energy. I think uh, this is uh, this is a no-brainer. Good conductors of both heat and electricity is metal. Okay? So, diretso tayo sa more important part. Which of the following measures the amount of electrical energy used in your home? The one that measures the amount of electrical energy in your home. Number 39. Well, thank you, JP, Lian, for your answer in number 38. Metal. So, no-brainer. 39. The one that measures the amount of electrical energy used. Perfect tayo sa 38. 39. So, contador or electric meter. Okay? That looks like this. So, clear. Clear. Okay. Bulb, we know what bulb is. Fuse. Fuse looks like a canister, di ba? In the olden days, parang nilalagay ito sa switch natin, no? Nasusunog kung sobra na yung kuryente. Then the switch turns on and off appliances. Number 40, which of the following statements describes the characteristics of molecules of solids? Naku, magpa-5 na. Which of the following statements describes the characteristics of molecules of solids? Ito, tricky din to, mahirap i-identify, di ba? Molecules are not closely packed together. Molecules have big spaces between them. Molecules move freely in all directions. Molecules vibrate in a fixed position. Okay, so I think number 40, yeah. Okay, fast, si Marcia and Chari. Chari, move freely in all direction. Is that it? Thomas is molecules are not closely packed together. We're talking about statement that best describe the characteristic of molecules of solids. So solid tayo, solid. Okay, may mga corrections na. Solid. What do solids do? So the answer is we cannot. Okay. Well, they're fixed. No, the answer is D. Remember that molecules do not move freely in all direction that much. No, although they do in a fixed position, pero not really that much compared to. Remember, we are comparing this one to other states of matter, and so although C is near, but not that free. D is still the best answer. Definitely, A is wrong. Because they are closely packed together. But when I say packed for solid, that does not mean that they don't have any spaces in between. Remember, even if solid, it's solid, there are still spaces in between. And molecules having big spaces between them are not solid for sure. Okay? Sige. Okay, correct, Thomas. Now, A, B, and C, they appear like they're descriptions of gases, but they can also be descriptions, loose description of liquids. But definitely, they're not solids. No? Okay. So see how they trick you, no, with how they describe it. Okay, which of the following is the lifting force of a liquid? Which of the following is the lifting force of a liquid? Or what is this that is defined as the lifting force of a liquid? Which is the lifting force of a liquid? Sorry mahina sa Bicol. Okay. Okay, buoyancy. Okay, correct, buoyancy. And look at buoyancy. So if it floats, meaning to say the buoyant force is equal to the the buoyant force is just enough with the weight. Okay, when it sinks down, no, below, then meaning to say the weight is far higher than the buoyant force. What if the object stays at the middle of water or liquid, this liquid? And that means that the density of the liquid is the same as the density of that material. Okay, so if it floats, buoyant force is equal to the weight. If it sinks down, then down the bottom, then meaning to say the weight is more than the buoyant force. Okay, so here, this is interesting. The stability of the object is based on how it looks like, the hull. The hull looks like, no? And the hull is such so that it can what's this, displace more water, more liquid, no? The more it can displace liquids, uh, then the more that it can float. Okay, on the here, this is interesting. This is, many of us can float with this kind of angle or position. Why? Because the center of gravity of our weight is at the same point as our buoyant force. But if we float, no, while the leg is also parallel with our body, then it's difficult. Why? Because the center of gravity moves to the left more. So you become less stable. So, well, that will explain why it's easy for you to float this way, like a letter C, than to float na ano talaga, no? Prone position. That has to do with buoyant force and center of gravity. So the two must be at one point so that you be stabilized. The same thing with the one at the upper right. No, this one is a stable position, but when you move, then the center of gravity and the buoyant force are not at the same point anymore. It becomes more unstable. Okay. Number 42. This is a mixture of different gases, pollutants, dust, and water vapor. So what is it? Mixture of different gases, pollutants, dust, and water vapor. What is it? Number 42. Siguro, ano naman to, clear naman to sa atin kung ano, no? May gas na kasi. So that's air. Air. Okay, thank you, Marsha. Thank you. Okay. Then number 43, para fast. What method is used to recover pure water and salt from seawater? Recover pure water and salt. Mean to say, even separate the two. So, what is this process or method? What method or process is this where you recover pure water and salt from seawater? Number 43. Okay. We have different answers here. The answer is, well, it can be filtrated in many ways, but that's not the most correct answer. The most correct answer is from the term itself. English majors will find this one very easy. Desalination. Saline is salt. They're taking out. So desalination is the process of taking out salt from seawater, separating the two, in other terms. Okay, that's desalination. Okay, which of the following, number 44, which of the following describes force? This is interesting. Which among the four describes force? Which describes force? Okay, we have immediate answers from Jericho, Danica, Norlene, Beverly, Karen, Mylene, Nemuel. All correct. Okay, thank you. So let's talk about force. Facts about force. So it's a push or a pull. That's the usual definition. Then it's in newtons. No, conventionally, it can exist during physical contact. So that's contact forces like tension, friction, applied force, compression, everything, no, with contact. And meron ding tinatawag na mga non-contact forces or field forces. These have no physical contact, so like gravitational electrical forces, no. So those are the ability to push, pull, bend, twist, etc. Okay. For work to be accomplished, let's talk about work as a concept. Which of the following factors must be involved? So now, gaano natin maintindihan? Impact, if we use the word, by the way, see, JP is asking, is impact the same as force? There's a definition of impact that is force times time. So it's not just force. Impact is force times time. It's the force you exert on an object at a particular time. Okay? So impact is not the same as force, but it's intertwined with force. Without force, there's no impact. Okay? Thank you for that question, JP. We will have a topic on impulse pala yun, no? Impulse. Uh, impulse. So, na-miss ako. So, impact. Akala ko, sige. Impact pala, JP. I have to check that, no? Kasi impact, I haven't seen that in a physics book as a concept talaga, no? But I have heard the word impact to describe the the kind of damage that a force can create in a particular object. So I am not really sure scientifically if they are the same. Or more because it's not being discussed and included in how we define force normally. So I would like to presume safely that it has a different definition but related to force. But in this case, for work to be accomplished, which factors must be involved? So in this question, clearly, the request is, well, the unwritten request is for you to know, it wants to check if you know the factors behind work. So this is easy. All you need to do is to go back to the definition of work. Or if you forgot the definition of work, just go to the equation of work. Work is, what is the definition? The equation of work? Force times distance. So if work is force times distance, therefore, the factors that affect work are force and distance. So see. So, for example, if you're talking about density, density is mass over volume. So what are the factors affecting density? Mass and volume. Nothing else. So if you know that force and distance are the only ones affecting the work, kahit ano pa yung mga other elements ilalagay dito, they're not supposed to be part of the factors affecting work. Okay? This is important, especially if you are being asked soon of another concept, no? Another concept like say power. So what is the definition? Power can be defined in many ways, no? So, power is work over time. Okay? So therefore work and time are factors affecting power. But work is also force times distance. So force, distance, and time are also factors affecting power. So my advice is always go back to the equation, into the definition for you to see the factors affecting a particular concept. And that is also conversely saying true, to be true. For example, weight is mass times G. Therefore, mass is weight over G. And the factors affecting mass are the weight and the G, or acceleration due to gravity. Number 46. Which of the following situations shows that work is being accomplished? Okay. So I think this is clear. Class C is the answer because work is force times distance. There must be distance in order for work to happen. In holding a bag, there's no work there. There's no distance. Leaning against a concrete wall, no distance at all, although there's force. Supporting a sack of rice still, if you're not moving at all, then there's no work. Pushing a cart has work. Which is not true about mass. Okay. Nako. I prepared 4 sets for the 2 days, but I can barely finish the first set. Sige, which is not true about mass. Yes, push cart, correct. Which is not true about mass. Medyo may 5-second delay sa YouTube and then dito sa StreamYard. Number 47, which is not true about mass. Bumabalik ako sa mass and weight, as you can notice. They might be simple terms, but most of the time, many people are confused by the difference. But most of the time, lumalabas yung concept na to. So, better discuss this one again and again. Okay, your answer is C. Correct. Because C describes the weight and the rest describe mass. For C, so the mass, the amount of inertia of an object. Our elementary definition of mass is the amount of matter in a substance. But the most accurate definition of mass is the amount of inertia in an object. Okay, that's why mass and inertia are conversely related. No? And so if you talk about inertia, mass is the measure of inertia. So the greater the mass, the greater the inertia. The greater the inertia, the greater the mass. So they're directly proportional. Okay. So also when you say 1 kilogram, for you to get a hang of how it looks like in the real world. So for me, I usually associate 1 kilogram to 1 liter of water. So isang liter ng tubig is isang kilo. So it's easy for me to compare things, how heavy one object to the other. Okay, in terms of mass, no? And then also it's also 1 liter of water is 1,000 milliliters. Okay? Sige. Here, some of this we will be discussing later, no, in the laws of motion. Which type of machine is a pair of scissors? Which type of simple machine is a pair of scissors? Many of us will argue, hindi man na siya simple machine ang pair of scissors. Sige lang balan, siri na lang anay. Give your answer first. No? Which type of simple machine is a pair of scissors? I hope everyone is still awake. Which type of simple machine is a pair of scissors? If I remember this right, I think this is grade 6-7 topic, yung simple at saka complex machines. So what type of machine is a pair of scissors? So many say lever. Okay. Yes, it is lever, but let us try to understand this one more. A pair of scissors is not just a lever, but it's also a wedge. No? So parang complex siya na material. And what are the other non-complex machines? So we have inclined plane, the wedge, wheel and axle, screw, pulley. Okay, please remember them again as much as possible. Solidify what you know already about them, because more often than not, they are need to know topics. No, so one example of a complex machine is bicycle. The other one is here, fishing rod. So bicycle, may lever ka, may screw ka, may wheel and axle ka, may pulley ka pa. Sa fishing rod, may pulley ka na, may wheel ka pa, meron kang wedge, yung hook, at saka meron kang lever. Okay. So, number 49. To find the density, parang tinatanong, which is the formula of density here? So, I hope, no, everybody knows this. What is the formula of density? Density can be expressed in many variables. Merong rho, ginausahan nila they use it for density, small letter m or small letter v. But in this case, it's D equals what? Okay. The answer is, okay, here. So density for rho is equal to the mass over volume. And a lot of topics, a lot of test items can be made in this simple equation. Maybe I will ask you what's the formula for the mass, what's the formula for the volume, what's your density if your mass is this and volume is this, or maybe something else. Later, there will be questions on density. Okay, thank you for the answers. Number 50, which of the following gases will keep the candlelight burning? Which of the following gases will keep the candlelight burning? Take note of the term burning. No? So, in burning, what are the most important things that must be present when you burn things? Okay, when there is burning, a process of burning that is happening. Okay, what is the most important gas to be present? So the answer is, okay, so clearly it's oxygen. Oxygen is one element very important for burning. Fuel too, and heat. No, all these three, the triangle of fire, must be present for fire to happen. 51. Which change is exhibited when liquid water freezes and becomes ice? Which change is exhibited when liquid water freezes and becomes ice? Okay. Again, I will move fast, but this is clear to us that this is phase change. Okay. But more than the answer, let's take note of some of the concepts of phase change. Okay. So there are how many phases? There are 5 major phases of matter or states of matter. So solid, liquid, gas, they are the most popular ones. We learned that from elementary. But we also have uh, um, plasma. We learned that in high school, I presume, or even in higher elementary. And then in higher high school, maybe we will learn the other one, no? The other most important one, Bose-Einstein condensate. So Bose-Einstein condensate, or simply condensate, then solid. This is from the lower temperature to the higher temperature. So Bose-Einstein condensate, existing only at lower temperature, lowest temperatures, then solids, and then liquids, and then gas, and then plasmas. Okay. So, as you can notice, 3 lang naman niya. 3 lang naman yan before, naging 4, naging 5. Sir, bakit ganun? Kasi naman, we just add uh, another state of matter if we have discovered it. We don't know what happens at higher temperature than the plasma, where plasma exists. Baka merong another state of matter. We don't even know if there's another state of matter that is lower, that is other than the Bose-Einstein condensate. Maybe if the temperature of the object is uh, near absolute zero, baka merong another state of matter. But what is important is that it's clear to us that these states of matter are increasing in terms of energy that they have. So plasma have highest energy content, and then intrinsically, because the molecules it has, in fact, ions it has, are moving very fast and it's very hot. Then gases hotter than liquids, liquids hotter than solids, more energy than solids, and solids have more energy than those Bose-Einstein condensate. And when you define change of phase, so here, from solid to gas is sublimation, but also don't forget the gas to solid deposition. Most of the time, tinatanong yan because everybody knows what vaporization is, what melting, freezing, and condensation is. No? But it's rare that sublimation and deposition processes are being discussed in class. But if you become a teacher someday, when you teach this one, please make sure that it has its practical applications. Kasi sometimes that's the pitfall of teachers. No, when they talk about concepts, they forget how to move from the concept to how it is relevant to the students, and thus the students don't see its relevance and they don't get the importance of which. No, so anyway, these are very important concepts. Then the states of matter, this is clear. Uh, when we talk about molecules that are moving, so they're moving very fast if it's gas, but less fast if it is solid. Okay, but when we talk about plasmas, now we're talking about ions that are moving also violently. Okay. Ha. So how can I finish this? So let's move very fast and just show me your answers. Oh, okay. What is the ideal place for installing air conditioning units or outlets? Saan ilalagay ang air condition? Where is it best to be placed? So the answer is near the ceiling. Okay, near the ceiling. Why? Why do we place the air cons near the ceiling usually? No, not not the air cons that some are familiar with, no, na mga sa motel, no. Anyway, there sa mga bahay, sa taas always. And bakit? Because if you place the aircon on top, then the cooler air will go down because it's heavier. And then the hotter air will go up, it will be cooled again, and thus it creates a convection process, making sure that the whole part of the room is cooled. Kung ilagay mo sa baba, only the lower part is cooled, and then ang mainit sa taas are less cooled. The convection is less. So the term is convection. Okay. Mercury cannot be handled by our bare hands because of its what? Aside from mercury being toxic, why is it difficult for us to handle by our bare hands the mercury? Okay. I hope nobody tried to handle mercury in their bare hands. But if you do this theoretically, why is it difficult, no, to handle with your bare hands? So the reason is because of cohesion. Mercury, kung na-notice nyo, parang Terminator 1, no, nag-move siya nga daw solid liquid, coat in coat, and then it mixes with another, then parang bola. It moves like a ball because it is cohesive. No, it is more cohesive than water that splatters. So if you handle it in your hand, it will just roll to your hand. So cohesion, take note. Okay? Correct. Letter C, correct. Which of the following elements makes a glowing splinter burst into flame? So remember what we have learned regarding bursting or regarding burning. So in this case, when we make a glowing splinter burst into a flame, like if you separate hydrogen from oxygen, you place a burning what's this match, no, in the test tube with hydrogen in it. So what happens is it bursts, and it bursts because of oxygen. Okay, the oxygen present. So ang nagbo-burst has oxygen, and the one that doesn't, different naman. A thin shaving blade when placed on water floats because of. So I think this is clear. Bakit nagfo-float ang shaving blade even if it is more dense than water? Okay. If the object is denser than water, it will sink, right? But why is it that a shaving blade floats in water even if it is more dense than water? So the answer is surface tension. So just like the mosquito walking on water, the surface tension keeps it afloat. Okay? Okay, correct. We're getting it right. Now, this one is a description of our capillary action. So the one at the right is mercury. It works differently because it's cohesive. The one at the left is water. It works differently because it is adhesive, meaning to say water's property is it sticks more on others, not on itself. So that's why if you place it in a tube, the thinner the tube, it goes up. Now, that's capillary action. That's the property of a capillary action. And that's also a property of water. The process of going up in a thin tube is capillary action. Here, it still goes down. It goes down because of the cohesiveness of hydrogen atoms, but it goes down in a thin tube because of also capillary action. Okay, it's depressing. No? Okay. Now, 56, I have 14 items more, so we can finish this fast. The near rigid shell of the Earth, made up of plates containing the world's continents and oceans, is the what? Near rigid shell of the Earth, made up of plates containing the world's continents and oceans. What is that? So, that is the lithosphere. Okay? Lithos means rocky. So from the root word itself, no, you know what is it all about. Okay, but also it's important for us to know the different parts of the lithosphere. Okay, the mixture of gases surrounding the Earth is called what? 57. Uh, Thank you for those who are answering it fast also in YouTube. The mixture of gases surrounding the Earth is called what? Okay, the mixture of gases surrounding the Earth is called, yeah, the atmosphere. But more than the answer, let us take note of the different parts of the atmosphere. We have troposphere, where the planes pass, the stratosphere, where the weather balloons pass, mesosphere, where the atmosphere to nasusunog yung mga comets, thermosphere, or the small uh, heavenly objects cutting through the earth. The thermosphere, dito mo natin makikita yung aurora borealis in the north and aurora australis in the southern portion of the earth, and an exosphere from the term itself, exo, no, the outer part of the atmosphere. Okay, then yeah, here you have the meteor shower, no, so makikita mo yan sa mesosphere. So thermosphere, the auroras, and then also the exosphere. No? And there's also specific distance between and among them. Okay, the distances were given by the scientists. They agreed over the distances of the layers, but they're not exact. No, they're just placed to classify and identify. That's what science does. Uh, but one thing is for sure, no, they are termed based on their function. So thermosphere because of the heat and what's this magnetic fields there present. Exo because it's already outside. Stratosphere because of the elements within its area. Um, and then the mesosphere, no, with meteors there. Okay, number 58, a little bit of computation. I hope you like computations. So in this case, an astronaut weighs 588 newtons on Earth. The gravity of the moon is 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. We learned that few minutes ago. Acceleration due to gravity, or the G, is 9.8 meter per second squared on Earth. The question, what is the astronaut's mass on Earth? Ano yung mass ng astronaut? If the astronaut weighs 588 newtons on Earth, the gravity of the moon is 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. We are talking about the gravitational force. No? Acceleration due to gravity on Earth is 9.6 meter per second squared. So what is the mass of the astronaut on Earth? Okay. So we know that weight is equal to mass times g, or acceleration due to gravity. If weight is equal to mass times g, wait, I have to turn my charger on. Okay, that. Okay. If weight is mass times g, therefore mass is weight over g, di ba? So therefore here, our answer is 60 kilogram. We just divided 588 newtons to 9.8 meter per second squared, which is acceleration on Earth, acceleration due to gravity on Earth, or the g. Okay? So I think let's focus on the equation, and now we ended up with this equation. Weight is equal to mass times g, or in this case, our g is AE. No? But we can use g if you want. No? G is still 9.8 meter per second squared. So because we need to get the mass is weight over A, or weight over G, and that is 588 divided by 9.8. So many got it right here. Thank you. Norlene, Maylene, Rain, no? Leah. Next question. What would be the astronaut's weight on the moon? If it weighs 588 Newton on Earth, then what is it? What is its weight on the moon? Okay. Because time is so limited, I'll proceed with the answer. We have learned this one kanina. So let's see if we have transferred what we have learned kanina to our answer today. So the answer is 98. How did we get 98? We just divided by 6. Because the gravity, our weight in the moon is 1/6 of that of the Earth. Okay? Okay? Okay. Sige. So I hope that's clear to everyone. Next, number 60. An astronaut weighs, so the same condition, what would be the astronaut's mass on the moon? Ano kaya yung mass ng astronaut sa moon? Okay? Kanina, mass ng astronaut sa Earth. Now, ano kaya yung mass ng astronaut sa moon? Ano kaya yung mass ng astronaut sa moon? Okay? Our answer is, yes, 60 kilogram, which we have answered kanina. That's the mass of the astronaut on Earth. Kung ano man ang mass nyo sa Earth, ganun din sa moon because mass does not change, no? Wherever you are. Classical physics-wise. Okay? Now, I hope we get it right also. Sorry, but I have to move fast because we have 70 items for the set 1. So we finished the 70 first. What step should you take when you need a graduated cylinder in order to perform an experiment and it's not available? Ito, ang tanong na to, this is really a test of how good you are, no? As far as an experimentalist. Anong gagawin mo kung kailangan mo ng graduated cylinder to perform an experiment but it's not available? So 1, ask your teacher to change the experiment because results will not be accurate. Or join another group and copy the results. C, perform the experiment without any graduated cylinder. Or D, use an improvised graduated cylinder such as an empty bottle with scale. Okay? Answers are getting in and okay. If you perform without the graduated cylinder, then that will be problematic because you will not get the right accurate measurements. We cannot also join in another group and just copy the result or change the experiment. We don't do that. Okay? The results can still be accurate if you have an improvised graduated cylinder in the lab, or you can make one with an accurate, I presume, with an accurate scale. No? So that is letter D. Okay. So this is a funny question, in fact. No? 62. The volume of an object refers to. So clear naman siguro sa atin what the volume of an object refers to, di ba? Yes, Evelyn, improvise. Let's improvise our graduated cylinder. Number 62, on the other hand, is D, the space it occupies. Number 63, okay, most living things are composed of the big 4 elements. These are. So what do you think are the big 4 elements? This is also important for biology majors. Kasi this has to do also with evolution and the source and origin of life. Diba? Dr. Tyson DeGrasse, one of my favorite astrophysicists, said, kasi tinanong siya, posible ba yung life outside Earth? Sabi niya, let's check. In the universe, what are in the body, human body, what are the big 4 elements in the human body that compose our human body? And then after that, tinanong niya, what is the major elements present in the universe, not just on Earth? And the top 4 are the same. Sabi niya, because of that, there's a high likelihood that there's life outside the Earth. So that's how he showed it. So what are the 4? Yes, correct. You are all correct. BBB. Oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen. They're all found in carbohydrates and amino acid, the very foundation of life. Okay. 64. Salt water has a density greater than that of density of pure water. Therefore, salt water is blank. So salt water is more dense. I think salt water is 1.03 and water is 1.00. So there's a slight difference in terms of their density. Because salt water is denser than pure water, therefore salt water is blank. Okay? So concept of density ito. And the answer is heavier than water. So if you look at the equation of density is mass over volume, okay, if assuming that the volume is the same and one is higher than the other, therefore one is heavier than the other. In this case, salt is heavier than water. Okay? That's why if salt is heavier than water, in a salt water environment, it's easier to float than in a pure water environment. So if just kung wala lang wave, this might appear also in the test. Where would you float better, in salt water or in pure water? You float better in a denser liquid. So salt water is more dense than pure water, therefore you float better in salt water. Para lang, assuming that it's still water. So that's why it's easy to float in ano yun, sa Israel na the most salty of all na lake, no? That biblical lake. So you can float there better than in a swimming pool because yeah, salt water is far denser than pure water. So densities are very important, not just to get how dense one is to the other, but density can also give you the idea what is the material all about. So you don't even need to tell me what is the substance all about. You can tell me the density, like 21.45 compared to the density of water. If that is the density, meaning if the object is 21.45 times more dense than water, automatically it's plutonium because there's no other else. No? Wala na ibang material that has the same density as plutonium. So that's one of the effects and use of density. It can give you the idea on what material you are supposed to have. That's how Archimedes, according to stories, identified how that identified the crown given to him to be checked if it's fake or not. Ang eureka moment niya. So he used the concept of density in order to know if the object is really gold or not. Okay, if the crown is really gold or not. 55, we six items more. Sorry for the extension. Which of the following mixture of decayed organic material, water and air, forming the upper surface of the lithosphere? What do you call that? A mixture of decayed organic material, water and air, forming the upper surface of the lithosphere. So the answer is soil. Okay? And we know what soil is, no? As it is, no? It's capable of supporting plant for growth. It's composed of mineral and organic matter. 66. Black smoke in air is due to what? Ito, medyo tricky din to. Black smoke is due to what? Dead Sea. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mark. Dead Sea pala yun. No? Dead Sea. So in Dead Sea, even if you don't know how to swim, you can float very easily because of salt water. No? More dense than pure water. Black smoke in air is due to what? Carbon dioxide ba? Carbon monoxide, carbon particles, water vapor. What causes black smoke? From the choices, sino dito can give you black smoke? Okay. May mga expected answers tayo. Okay. Many of us answered, all of you answered so far, black smoke. Black smoke? Carbon monoxide, no? Let's see if that is really the right answer. The answer is carbon particles. Okay, charan! So, bakit hindi carbon monoxide? We usually associate carbon monoxide with tambucho, di ba? Lumalabas na ang black. In fact, yung black na yon, it's not carbon monoxide, but carbon particles. Because carbon monoxide is intrinsically clear. And we cannot see it like water vapor. Okay, colorless yun. So, colorless yung carbon monoxide. So, contrary to popular perception of what carbon monoxide is. So, ito yung sinasabi ninyo na uh, tricky questions. Kasi popularly known ang carbon monoxide to be black colored because it's associated with yung binubuga sa tambucho ng cars, di ba? Or jeeps. But totoo naman, may carbon monoxide dyan, but not all carbon monoxide. The one that causes it to be colored black is carbon particles. Okay? And carbon monoxide is colorless. Okay? Again, if we are wrong this item, let us all celebrate. Hindi pa naman to let. Importante, clear na sa atin. If it happens again, we just have to make sure that our answers will be more correct. Okay. The 2 in the H2O means what? One molecule of water contains blank atoms of blank. Okay. One molecule of water contains blank atoms of blank. Okay. So the answer is 2 atoms of hydrogen. Ba? Alam naman natin to, no? Then 1 atom of oxygen. Okay. 68. Citric acid is found in. Okay, because it's acid. What is the most likely answer? Most likely answer, number 68. Citric acid is found in blank. Okay, the answer is orange juice. I think everybody knows na orange juice is acidic. Okay, and there's citric acid there. 69, second to the last. The visible condensed water vapor in the air is called what? The visible condensed water. Arana, visible na condensed water pa, water vapor in the air. Visible condensed water vapor in the air. Okay? Not water, but water vapor in the air. So, what do you call that? The visible condensed water vapor in the air. Answer, vitamin C, CJ. The visible condensed water vapor in the air is called the cloud. Okay? Yeah. So, water vapor. No? So, clearly, vapor yung hinanap natin. So, it cannot be dew, rain. Can't be snow also because snow is solid and liquid all at the same time. So, solid, more solid. Last, the purest water in nature that contains the least dissolved and suspended particles is what? Ito, I was really confused when, I'm still confused why every time I give this item sa mga let na mga review, maraming iba yung sagot sa actual na sagot. Really confused. I'm really confused. And then, sometimes I realize, sometimes I tell myself, most likely because of the generation gap, that they answered it differently. Okay? The purest water in nature that contains the least dissolved and suspended particles is. Okay? I will wait for your answers. Number 70. We can end here. I'm very, very sorry for the extension. I'm very, very sorry also why I failed to put 2 sets in 2 hours. Ang 2 hours pala, isang set lang. So I prepared 4 sets. I don't know how will this go. Anyway, so number 70. Oh, may sabi C, may sabi rain, JP rain, Silian D, well water, may seawater, walang river, no? So we're divided among rain, sea, well water. Wala pang nagsumagot na river. Okay. Sige. Okay. This is what I meant, no? Na we're divided on this. Pero take note that the ones who made this one are the ones who follow the convention. And when we talk about the convention, even the reality until now, still the purest water of all in nature is still the rain. Okay? I think this generation have enough input regarding acid rains kasi, and then other things, no? That is why some of us tend to consider uh, other things aside from rain as the purest water. Others even consider well water as purest. But in fact, ang well water, ito yung tinatawag natin kung minsan mineral water, from the term itself, meaning it's not pure because there are some mineral contents, although some mineral contents are good for our body. River obviously is not the answer. Sea obviously is not the answer. So, uh, why rain? Because scientifically, if everything is pure and okay, then it's supposed to be the purest of all the water, no? If the condensation is correct, no? Yeah, so that's it. So anyway, paano ba to, Ma'am Mek? Sorry
Yes,
na
sir. It's okay, Sir
ba to?
H.
Kasi ang sayang kasi I have three more and we only have one more
One more
next
day.
one more tomorrow. Pero what is better? I will do things faster.
We'll talk about it po, and then I'll ask Sir Ram to talk with you na lang, Sir H.
Okay, sige. Oh. This one is the easy part. So, maybe last words na lang for the rest. No, again, I started with the concept quantum, whatever works to you. For others who find this one easy, let us celebrate that this is easy for you. Dito pala ako. Let us celebrate that this is easy for you. Now, for others who find this one difficult, and again, there's no reason to not to celebrate again kasi I presume that you have learned something from this one. And that is the very purpose of LET, di ba?
Mhm.
And I hope it will not end there, Ma'am Mek, na sa LET lang. Kasi
Opo.
ang responsibility natin as teachers is far from LET. It's really far from LET. No, what is happening in in the Philippines, in our country right now, people voting, uh, you know, ang the way people make decisions and choices right now can be seen clearly and darningly in how the government is being managed, how we manage ourselves in our community.
Mhm.
So, but we as teachers have the best possible tool, us ourselves, to change everything for the good. So yun yung, I think siguro yun yung pinaka aim uh, for in studying this one.
Tama po.
We start with the truth, the scientific truths, and more than that, the scientific process and skills. Kasi ang kultura na scientifico ay importante sa lahat-lahat na bagay. We don't just accept things as it is. We investigate, we check, we verify, we become skeptical for good reasons,
That's
so that
right,
we can
sir.
make good decisions and help the world, don't help our community.
Yeah, so once again, thank you so much, Doc H. Marami po kaming natutunan, no? Hindi lamang sila. Of course, I was also learning along with them, no? Ang daming concepts na bagong natutunan, meron ding mga na-relearn, no? And so we thank you. I know you are very busy. It's very difficult to get a hold of Doc H with his busy schedule, but of course we are thankful that he has said yes to us, and of course he's coming back tomorrow for the part 2 of your discussion. Okay, so tomorrow that's going to be from 1 until 3 p.m. or 3, or he will extend. Okay, so we will see by tomorrow. All right, now, but before I forget, of course, if you are a TLE major, agri and fish major, values education, of course, physical science major, please do comment that in our comment box, because we are going to monitor the chat box, of course, and we are going to be adding people in our Google Classroom for your freebies. Again, TLE major, agri and fish, your values education, also physical science major, please do comment your majors in the chat box para po ma-add kayo sa ating Google Classroom. So sa muli, maraming salamat, Sir H. And of course,
Yeah.
tomorrow we are coming back, no? 1 p.m. tomorrow, Sir H. Tama po ba?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. 1 p.m. kasi I have to do something else after that.
Okay, that's right po. And of course, people, please don't forget, we will have our general education discussion tonight. That's at 7:30. Okay, 7:30 p.m. It's 4:30 a.m. right now, no? So idlip ako ng mabilis, no? I will wake up. I will be back at 6:30 a.m. for your general
Mabuhay ka.
education. Okay, and so we end this session, of course, with a prayer. So please, I'm inviting everyone to please join us in our closing prayer.
Muli po tayong manalangin mga kaguro para sa ating pagtatapos sa gawain po na ito. Panginoon, salamat po muli sa pagtulong mo sa amin pong pag-aaral. Marami po kaming mga natutunan at sana po ay tumimo ito sa aming puso, sa aming isip. Manatili po ang mga bagay na ito at paalala namin, magamit po namin para po sa aming pagsusulit po Diyos. Salamat sa mga bagong natutunan po na ito mula po sa aming teacher, Panginoon. At humihingi po kami ng pagpapala sa bawat isa sa amin, Panginoon. At sana po sa panibagong araw po muli, kami po ay gabayan mo hanggang sa susunod po naming pag-aaral. Panginoon, ay magkikita-kita po kami, magsasama-sama po kami. At nawa po iligtas ang bawat isa, nawa po ay may ginagawang bawat isa para makuha namin yung amin pong inaasam na maging ganap na guro, Panginoon. Salamat po sa pagkakataon po na ito na ibinigay mo sa bawat isa sa amin. At sana po sa amin pong pansamantalang paghihiwalay po ngayon, nawa po ay gabayan mo po ang bawat isa sa amin, makapagpahinga po kami, maging malakas po kami, Panginoon, maging productive po kami sa lahat ng aming ginagawa. At ganoon din po, Panginoon, may bigay po namin ang aming sarili sa inyo, na ikaw po ang may likha ng lahat ng mga bagay, ay nararapat po na ikaw ay aming sambahin at purihin sa pamamagitan ng aming mga labi, sa pamamagitan ng aming pagsunod po sa inyo. Salamat po, Panginoon, na nandyan ang Panginoong Jesus. Nandyan ang banal na Espiritu na tumutulong sa bawat isa sa amin. Panginoon, salamat sa pag-ibig mo sa amin, pagpapatawad mo sa bawat isa sa amin. Narito po kami, nawa po ay mapakinggan mo ang bawat isa sa amin, ang mga panalangin po namin, Panginoon. Lahat po ito ay dalangin namin sa pangalan ni Jesus na aming Panginoon at tagapagligtas. Amen.
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 So once again, thank you so much, Doc H. And he's coming back tomorrow. You've just had Doc H with Coach Mech of Gurong Pinoy. And we'll leave you with the saying, maliit man na butil ng mga kaalaman, ang dulo nito ay malaking kaginawaan. Maraming salamat. See you later. Bye.